Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Central PA, where it snows every other day. Looks like we're going to be getting some snow overnight here. Just tomorrow morning, keep your eyes peeled on your email. I know Jen, I see Jen Rabigum on the call here. She usually gets in touch with us real early in case we have any delayed openings here at the office. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. Hey, I heard something interesting on the radio this morning. I thought I'd share it with you. I'm a semi-trivia buff, and I thought this was pretty interesting. I'm getting ready, getting my shower, shaving this morning, and up on the radio pops this piece of trivia. What product was introduced in 1985 that cost $1.50 and it still costs the same today? Any guesses? $1.50. So that was 35 plus years ago. The product is the Costco hot dog. They've never increased the price at Costco. So you can get a Costco hot dog and a soda for less than $5. Maybe they'll get you on the soda and they'll charge you $5 for the soda. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to share my screen here. Give me a second. Okay, where'd everybody go here? Here we go. Show video panel. There we go. Okay, so we have a lot of different things to cover today. They keep moving things around on Zoom on me. There we go. Okay. Joining us first is going to be our mortgage guys. I know I talked to Dan and James yesterday and they have some things to share with us. So not sure which one's going to go first. So guys, take it away.
James, go ahead.
Okay. So just some chatter that Dan and I have been hearing as we talk to clients and as we talk to some of you, surrounding student loans right now. So, there's a lot of talk politically about, slashing student loans, cutting 10 grand, off of everybody's student loans, things like that. Obviously they've extended the, deferment or forbearance period for student loans. What does that mean when it comes to purchasing a home? So we're still, we still have to factor in those student loans into the file. So from a, debt to income ratio perspective, even if there's a zero as far as the monthly payment, and not just in this time, but over time, if somebody has their loans in deferment, we still have to use 1% of those loan balances as a monthly payment within the file for qualifying individuals, with debt to income ratio. That hasn't changed. We still need to do that as far as the qualification process goes. So, we're hearing from people like, oh, well, we don't have to make these payments. It shouldn't count. Unfortunately, it still does count. When, things change and maybe they have legislation or the executive order to cut those student loans by however much, then it'll be something that we revisit on a case-by-case basis as far as, what that does for people overall with student loans. But as of right now, it's kind of status quo with that and what we have to do with the student loans in each individual buyer's file. Any questions pertaining to that? Okay. Dan?
All right, yeah. So, and talking about something also, I guess, tied a little bit to political chatter. Obviously, during the campaign trail, the Biden administration had proposed a $15,000 tax credit to help home buyers, first-time home buyers. So again, I've received some inquiries about that. Unfortunately, I had an outside agent tell a buyer that they would need closing costs because the tax credit would cover it. Interestingly enough, it's not even, it's not a legislation at this point. It's been just, again, a lot of talk. So, you know, ultimately, you know, it's something that people are hearing about here and there, and they're asking about it. Right now, there is nothing definitive or official as far as if and when it's going to happen. So I think that's first and foremost what everybody needs to understand, especially buyers that are inquiring about it. More importantly, we just don't know a lot of the details of the logistics surrounding it. So obviously, first and foremost, it's up to $15,000 tax credit. There's always that up to there. So exactly how does that play out and how much is someone going to qualify for? We surely don't know. The other characteristic about this, which is supposed to be different, is this $15,000 can actually be supposedly applied at closing. So in other words, someone that qualifies for this tax credit, that $15,000 or whatever the amount may be can actually be used at closing. Now, first and foremost, my question is, you know, that's going to be a logistical nightmare, quite frankly, because that means at the closing table, there's $15,000 that's not present. So where's that money coming from? Is it going to be a government reimbursement? And if that's the case, who's going to front that money in the meantime? You know, somebody's not going to get paid at closing. Is it the seller? Is it, you know, the title company? Is it the tax entities? Is it, you know, you as the agent? I mean, obviously we don't know, and most likely none of the above, but how is it going to work logistically? We have no idea at this point. So I think, you know, ultimately the biggest thing is, you know, if buyers are questioning it, the most important thing is it's not happening right now. We don't know if or when it's going to. So it's something that really shouldn't be much of a topic of conversation. I surely wouldn't think a buyer would wait and see, because again, this is something that could happen 3 months, 6 months, or 2 years down the road. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff doesn't happen as quickly as everybody wants it to, but I just wanted to make sure that, you know, that everyone was indeed aware that at this point in time, it's nothing definitive, and, you know, we're not even really able to consider it. Again, if you have any questions specifically, you can reach out to James or myself. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Usually next up, we have our settlement services ladies, but they're actually going to be doing something a little bit later on in the meeting. So I'm going to skip over them and go right to James White.
Okay, yes, I was going to piggyback on something that they were going to do as well, too. And if they're still doing their topic, I know it was about home sales involving unmarried couples. So I was just going to add on to that. I do shop it with both names if it's an unmarried couple as well, too, because with some companies there's a soft credit pool that they use to determine the rates on the policy, and that can be more beneficial in one person's name than the other's name, depending on the case as well, too. So and if there's any additional persons, such as a mother, a father, another relative that they are purchasing the home with as well, too. I see that a couple of times here and there as well, too. What I do is I would add that person on as an additional insured, which in turn protects their financial interest in the home for that person as well, too. So, and then, you know, tying on to that, auto policies as well, too. If it's an unmarried couple in the same home, some companies will take that if the vehicle is registered in each person's name. Some won't. You know, it all depends on the company and their underwriting guidelines, basically. But I would always see what the best options are for both of them as they're buying the house, if they want that auto quote as well, too. So that was all I had today. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Desmond George, who is joining us, who is our new Cinch Home Services representative. For those of you that are longtime Lancastrians, if you reverse Desmond's name and have George Desmond, there is a George Desmond that's a builder here in Lancaster. But this is not the builder, not related to the builder, but Desmond and I have talked a couple times since he's joined Cinch, and he is taking the place of Jonathan Stroud. Jonathan is still with the company, just in a different capacity at this point in time. And I thought I'd invite Desmond on this morning. I was talking with him earlier on. He's been on 2 other home sale meetings this morning, so this is his 3rd. So if he looks a little worn out, it's because he wore him out. So Desmond, welcome to our meeting this morning.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah, this is the third one this morning, but I'm fine. I didn't have to travel too far, so that's good. So like Tom said, my name is Desmond George. Please just call me Des. No one really calls me Desmond unless I've done something really wrong. So just keep it at Des. Just a little bit about myself. My background is in insurance, property and casualty. I've been working in the insurance industry for about 18 years now. Originally, I'm from the UK, London, England, but I've been here for 25 years. May not sound like it, but 25 years, 18 years in insurance, worked for Nationwide, AIG, Harleysville Insurance. I've done both personal lines and commercial lines insurance, pretty much all things insurance. My last position, I worked for Long and Foster Insurance as an insurance manager. I was responsible for 5 offices in the tri-state. So I'm very well used to working in the real estate offices and supporting real estate agents. I'm fully aware of how stressful and the type of support that you need. So I'm here to assist. I'm married. My wife, Audrey, 2 boys, Dominic and Jermaine. One's in college, one's out. So that means I'm never going to ever retire. So, I'm working for life. I'm here, like I said, feel free. Please reach out to me. I'm still kind of onboarding, but please reach out to me. My number is still the same as it says on the slide, Jonathan's old number. Email address, reach out to me. I've just activated electronic business cards, which I'll send the information to you guys. Tom, if you need any more brochures, if you need any more current ones, please let me know. I can get those out to you with my business card. And again, I'm super excited, super pumped to meet you guys. I'm hoping at some point I can get out to the office. Maybe at some point when the world returns to normal, we can all go out for a drink, on me, of course. So thank you for the invite. And again, looking forward to working with each and every one of you.
Thanks, Des. Appreciate it. And by the way, you caught everybody's ear when you said drinks on me. So everybody.
I wonder why.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Okay. I thought I'd put this up this morning. This has kind of been in the offing for a little bit, and I'm getting more and more questions from agents here in this office, actually outside of the office, on a couple different fronts. First of all, the property address that you're looking at here is 302 South Broad Street in Lititz. This property was purchased by a group that Mark Will heads. Mark, as everybody knows, has his team here at North Pointe, and in probably very short order, maybe within the next 30 days or so, will be moving his operation to this location, which is, if anybody's familiar with Lititz, is the old Lititz Library. Now, this picture that you see here is a little old. I know Mark and his group have been going in there and really doing a nice job of rehabbing the place. So I wanted to make it sure everybody was aware of this. So Mark and his group are going to be exiting the building. It's going to be known as an annex of the North Pointe office. So it's still part of our office. There will be a section, you're looking at the front of the building here from Broad Street, but you'd actually enter the back side of this building where there's a parking lot. And the back side, once you walk in, there'll be a small reception area. And you as an agent, if you are in Lititz and you need to touch down someplace with some clients, things like that, you're going to be able to stop in at our Lititz Annex North Pointe office. Boy, that's a mouthful to say. And you'll be able to use the facilities there. So I wanted to make sure everybody's aware. Now, it's not going to be manned with a receptionist. So we're still probably working out some of the details as to how you might have access to it if you need that building. But I wanted to make sure everybody's aware, because there is a sign out front. It looks like a semi for sale sign, which a lot of people have been saying, hey, do we have this new listing in Lititz? No, it's not a new listing in Lititz, it's the Annex. So I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of it. It's got great visibility. Obviously, it's right on Main Street. It's about 3 blocks south of the square. So, you know, at some point in the future, when Mark and his group open it up, please stop in. I'm sure they'll be happy to give you a tiny little tour. So.
Hi everyone, we are excited to kick off our first digital training session with Ninja Selling. Next week's session, Living on Purpose Like a Ninja, will cover 3 simple steps that successful ninjas use to live meaningful, vision-connected lives. This session will cover how to create success habits that last, how to control your energy and your focus, and how to build strategies that lead to a personal and professional life that you deserve. We hope you tune in and take advantage of this new offering.
So I would highly encourage you, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to Colleen in a second, but if you've never read the book Ninja Selling, it is a fabulous book. I read it probably about a year and a half ago. A lot of good takeaways in it. They have these sessions here called Ninja Selling. There are 4 sessions that you see here. I posted them up here. You're going to be getting periodic emails inviting you to enroll in these sessions. They're short. They're about an hour and 15 minutes long. The very first one is coming up next week, next Monday on February 22nd. As Jen mentioned there, Living on Purpose Like a Ninja. There will be, as you see here, there'll be handouts with each session that you'll be able to take part in, take notes, a lot of good takeaways. However, you do have to pre-register for this. There was an email that went out on February 15th. For those of you that get thousands of emails and kind of brush through this and want to take part in this, go back to February 15th. There's an email where you can register, click on the link. Once you do register, you'll be given the link to attend the session. In addition, you'll be given the link for the handouts for that session. Once again, I've read this book. It is a fabulous book, and I'm sure you'll get a lot out of these short, brief sessions. And as you saw previously, there's a total of 4 sessions, each covering a different topic. So I wanted to make you aware of it. You may more than likely get another email between now and Monday, just giving you a heads up that it's coming up. Please, I would encourage everybody to register for this. Along that line, last meeting I had Colleen talk with us about the projected book club, and her and I were talking about, you know, what kind of book, first book should be part of this, and she was kicking around the idea of Ninja Selling, but I'm going to turn the meeting over to Colleen, and she can tell you kind of what's going on with the book club and what's going to happen in the very near future here.
Good morning, guys. Good to see everybody on here. We are going to be doing Ninja Selling, and it's going to be a combination of a book group / brainstorming and recap of the sessions that are being offered by the company. So it's going to be, hopefully, depending on the amount of people that sign up, if we could do it in the training room here, that would be fabulous. If we have an overwhelming amount of people, which I hope that we do, then we will have to start it on Zoom. But we're just going to kind of go back over some of the things that were discussed in the training sessions that are being offered by the company. And then we're going to read the book. I will tell you that the book, as Tom said, fabulous book. And this is one where if you can't make it to every session, it's okay, because each chapter is of its own topic. And so you could jump in, you could jump out as needed, depending on your schedule. You will see an email come from me in the next week with the first date. Just respond and let me know, and then I'll compile a group of us and get some communication out to you. Thanks, Tom.
Yep. And by the way, we may be able to get, Colleen, a discount on these books if we have enough that we order at the same time. So, you know, as you're putting together that list, or as people are responding to you, let's take a look and see how many people there are, and you know, save a couple dollars on the books. So,
sounds good.
So, monthly statistics. I've been putting these out since I got here to the office, and I'm going to start putting them out in a different format. What you see right here, this is coming right out of Bright. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a second. Bright has some incredible statistical tools. You know, the old Flex system, I call it the old, it's like, what, year and a half, 2 years that we've migrated away from that. The old Flex system had some statistical things in it, but I got to tell you, the stuff that is in Bright at this point in time is just unbelievable what you can pull out of there. So I'm going to be putting out this one-page sheet every single month. I'll put it in PDF format. I'll probably put it around the office. It has on here, as you see the bullet points on the right, new listings, new pendings, closed sales. I do want to draw your attention though. I have been putting out in the information that I've been getting to the office, average sale price. What this report gives you is median sold price, which is a little different than average. The average sale price in Lancaster County is up in the 260s. Median, for those of you that want to go back to your math class in high school, median is exactly the center point at which there are as many below that point as above. So it's a little bit different than the average. So I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. In addition, it's going to show active listings, average days on market. Once again, I was using median days on market. Median days on market was down around 6 days. The average, as you see here, is about 23 days. So there's a little bit of difference in what you have been receiving in the past versus what we're going to be putting out now. I know one of the things that I've shown this to a couple of people. One of the things that I've heard is if you see the sample here, it says presented by Tom Blefko, Berkshire Hathaway, HomeServices, Homesale, Realty. I know a lot of you end up putting this on your social media sites. I can create this in a PIN or PNG format and kind of get rid of my name so it's not branded to me. You can put your own name in there, but I did want to let you know that this is coming up. This is a little different than what you've been seeing since I've been here. While we're talking about where you get market statistics, and I mentioned just a second ago, there is a tab in Bright, and you see it right here that says market. And if you click that, there's a drop-down menu that drops down, and you can find literally every statistic imaginable. You can get lost in here. I've been in here playing around. I know at the board was reluctant to put some of this stuff out because of the data that they weren't quite sure of. The board is now proceeding with market statistics on a county, or excuse me, an association-wide level. But I wanted to draw your attention to some other things in here that are available to you as a subscriber to Bright that you may not even know that you get the benefit of. First of all, where I pulled that report is called Smart Charts Pro. Now you can get into this link and you can actually pull up a, kind of a really basic report. I upgraded my subscription. You get a free subscription, but I upgraded mine so I can actually drill down into zip codes and things like that with Smart Charts. But the basic Smart Charts is given to you free as a subscriber. In addition, that red box that you see there, if you go into those links, once again, you'll be amazed at what is there. I know a lot of people have come to me over the months and said, hey, I'm taking a listing, or I'm going out on a listing presentation, something in Warwick Township. Can you get specific in Warwick Township for me? And I'm going to start saying, I won't do it, but I'll show you where it is in Bright. It's very simple to pull Warwick Township data right off of the market statistics tab. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Some other things that are in here. First of all, you get a free subscription to Inman Select as a subscriber to Bright. You also get a free Remind Pro subscription that is included with your Bright subscription. Now, why are these things important? The Inman Select link there, because you are a subscriber to Bright and also a member of the Lancaster County Association of Realtors, it is $199 per year, but because of your membership in Bright, it is free, it is included. All you have to do is go to that link, go in there, and you'll have to enter some information. You're probably gonna have to enter your Bright MLS number, but you'll have a free subscription to Inman Select where you have all the industry news right at your fingertips. In addition, I talked about Remind Pro. If you bought Remind Pro on the open market yourself as an independent agent, it is over $2,000 a year, over $2,000 a year. And because of your subscription, it is free, it is included. You will be amazed at all the information that is in here. You know, this particular one, this screenshot that I have up here, this is actually just north of our office here, a screenshot. This gives you the likelihood, you talk about AI, artificial intelligence, this gives you the likelihood, all these green properties, of them selling in the very near future. And you say, well, how do they know this? They plug things into their system, they plug things into their formulas, and they come up and they're fairly reliable. You can get mortgage information in here. It is unbelievable. I went in there and looked at my own property. They are spot on with how many times I've refinanced over the last 7, 8 years. They've got interest rates in there. They know what my payoff is. It's pretty incredible. So if you're going out on listing presentations, you're talking with people, I would highly encourage you to get into Remind Pro and see what is in there that you can utilize in your day-to-day conversations with buyers and sellers. I also wanted to bring this up. This isn't a major change, but it is somewhat of a change, and I wanted to make sure everybody was brought up to speed. I think everybody is aware of what the Fair Housing Act is. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination based upon race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. That's been in effect for literally years. And I think if you all went through pre-licensing class, and hopefully you did, you went through pre-licensing class and you got your license, you had to learn this, the Fair Housing Act. Well, it's been expanded. In 2011 and 2013, NAR put within its code of ethics, not only those things that are listed in the Fair Housing Act, but we also listed as an association in 2011, sexual orientation, that we wouldn't discriminate as realtors. Also in 2013, gender identity, we can't discriminate as realtors regarding that. But what is really impactful is just literally within the last 2 to 3 weeks, HUD is also now including these in the Fair Housing Act. So if you are dealing with any of these protected classes, not that your actions would be any different, but I just thought you ought to be aware that not only is the Fair Housing Act with all the things that go with it, but it now includes sexual orientation and gender identity. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Carrie and Sarah. And we got to talking yesterday about some things that you as agents ought to be aware of. And they term this, and they just went through a seminar, which they'll explain probably. They went through a seminar called Love and Marriage, Tenancies and Marital Rights. So ladies, do you want to get on and take it away here?
Morning, everyone. Yes, I just had to sit through a continuing education webinar the other day, and this was by far the best webinar I've been through, and I thought a lot of this information would be very helpful to everybody. It's just going to be talking about the way people hold title, and this varies from state to state, so what we're going to talk about is specifically for Pennsylvania. Always have your clients also consult an attorney if they have any questions as to how they want to take title. But we had some fun facts that we came up with that we wanted to go over with you. All right. So we're going to ask you some questions. And if you guys want to respond in the chat, Sarah's going to keep track and she'll give away the correct answer. So we use some examples, and I'm going to tell you, I had to change the names because on the seminar, they used a bunch of political figures from both parties, but they had to stop in the middle of the seminar and apologize because people were offended. So I've used people from the office. So our first example.
No, I won't get offended here.
Tom Blefko and Jen Ravegum bought a house together. Title is vested as Tom Blefko and Jen Ravegum. No marital status or other language is included on the deed. What is the tenancy?
I'll give everybody 10 seconds. Type it in the chat box what you think the answer is, A, B, or C, and then we will let you know who is right. Well, I only got one answer. Oh, there we go. Tom, do you want to reveal the answer?
Dun, dun, dun.
You guys are correct.
So tenants in common basically means two or more grantees, each owning an undivided fractional interest on the same property. Each tenant can convey, encumber, or devise their undivided share. So that means if they take title as tenants in common and one party wants to sell out their interest in that property, they can do that. They can actually even finance their own portion. Doesn't happen often, but that could happen. All right.
Well,
question number two.
Carrie, what you're saying here is Jen and I can get rid of each other fairly easily. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Keep in mind, if there is no language on the deed, and this happens with older deeds, would you agree with me, Carrie, from back in the 90s or 80s? If there's nothing listed, it automatically defaults to tenants in common. And this is important to understand because moving forward with estates or other type of financial planning, tenants in common, it may cause a few issues down the road. So always ask your clients and look at the deed to see what tenancy is.
All right. Carrie and Sarah, longtime friends, are buying a house together. They want to make sure that if one of them dies, the property goes to the other instead of their money-grubbing families. What language should follow their names on the deed?
All right, Sherry, you are correct. You want to reveal the answer, Tom?
Yes, so that means joint tenants with the right of survivorship, two or more grantees owning the same undivided share of the whole, who takes title at the same time and in the same instrument.
This is a very common tenancy for two parties, friends, a lot of boyfriend and girlfriends or fiancés that are buying property together, or girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend. If they're planning to get married, if they aren't married yet, they'll take title this way.
Now I'm going to just add to this a little bit. I'm going to change the scenario. This isn't one of our questions on the screen, but Carrie and Sarah hold title as joint tenants with the right of survivorship. Carrie dies. What happens to Carrie's interest in the property? Sarah, do you want to give the answer to that?
Does anybody know before we? Does anybody know what happens to that interest?
Correct, Bob.
So in this particular case, if it does pass to The interest goes to me. However, inheritance taxes would potentially be due on Carrie's 50% at the time of her death. And people don't seem to realize that it can cause some issues if, let's say, we own the property for 20 years and I died 10 years, or Carrie died 10 years ago, and my estate was probated and then closed out and everybody moved on, and now I'm selling the property. I would have to go back and open Carrie's estate and pay inheritance taxes.
Correct. Okay. David and Carrie got married last year and they just bought their first house. Title is vested into David Martin and Carrie Martin. No other language is included on the deed. What is the tenancy?
Go ahead and reveal the answer. Tom was right.
Yes. So as long as they're married and they can, this could be an issue in court, but according to the attorneys that did our seminar, as long as they are married at the time, even if it doesn't state tenants by the entirety, as long as they're married, it's assumed that they're taking title as tenants by the entirety.
Right.
Now, to add on to this a little bit, while the parties own the property, if they get divorced, as soon as that divorce decree is final, it changes the tenancy to tenants in common. So just a little fact for everybody to keep in mind.
Yep.
Okay. James and Janice are getting married next week. They just closed on their first house. Title is vested as James Ream and Janice Kennard. No other language is included. What's the tenancy?
Tom, go ahead and reveal. Everyone got it.
That's correct. So when they get married, they would have to do a new deed to change that tenancy to tenancy by the entirety.
So keep in mind, as we are moving forward or you're dealing with some buyers, some women are no longer changing their last name. So it's important to ask that question if you are dealing with a buyer. Are you two married? Because having their tenancy correct is very important when buying the property for items down the road. So if James and Janice were married and she never changed her last name, they would want to take tenancy as tenants by the entirety, the not tenants in common in most cases.
Okay. Dan and Alexandra got married last year and are buying a house together. How should the tenancy read in the grant clause of the deed?
Tom, go ahead. Everyone got it?
Dun, dun. Good job, guys. Now, there are a few occasions where someone that's married, they may choose not to take title as tenants by the entirities. A good example is if they had been married previous and have children through other marriages, they may want their interest to go to their estate for their children. But again, that would be something they would absolutely want to consult an attorney to figure out what's the best choice for them. Sarah's favorite question. Zac Efron and Sarah Tompos own property together as tenants by the entirety. They get divorced. What is the tenancy?
Only one answer. There we go. Tom, do you want to reveal?
Good job, you guys. We're paying attention.
So that is it as far as our tenancy question and answers. Hopefully it made a lot of sense and gave some clarity to the different types of tenancy and how they affect and what they can do. If anybody has any questions, please let us know. And you can always direct your clients to give us a call so we can explain it. But ultimately, if they're questioning, they should always consult their attorney before making a final decision.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. The last thing they said is probably the most important thing, which is even if you know this stuff pretty well, and I do because I teach this in pre-licensing, if you know this stuff pretty well and people are saying, well, what's the best way for me to hold title to the property? Avoid that with a 10-foot pole. I mean, you can give them what the options are, but as far as what they think is, which way they ought to go, they ought to be talking with an attorney. Okay, so thanks. Appreciate you bringing it to our attention and putting it in front of us here. So we're going to finish up today talking about, I'm sure everybody's heard this, Zillow acquired ShowingTime this past week and what it means for our business. And I've actually put out some things myself on my YouTube channel and a couple of other things. But there's a lot that is left to be done here. And I think a lot of agents are going crazy over this. Everything that I'm reading on the on blog posts and things, it's almost like this. They think the world is coming to an end, and it's imminent now that, the Zillow is taking over the world. And all I would do would be to say, just pump your brakes a little bit here. Here's what I'm hearing agents say, but Zillow now has all my data. If they get my showing data, they have that. They understand what my buyers are looking at. They have my buyer's email address. They have all this information, which they're going to use, and they're going to turn around and they're going to use it against us as real estate agents. Well, I'm not saying that won't happen, but if you're concerned, you are concerned about data and you're going to lose to Zillow because of they got your data, you need to look at yourself a little bit and think, what can I do to provide either better service or have more value to my clients? I came up with 7 things that, I'm looking at this potential acquisition. I'm thinking, you just need to pump the brakes a little bit here. The first thing is, there are existing privacy agreements in place right now, and there's data security efforts that are written into contracts. That can't be broken. Much like, listing contracts that get transferred from one entity to another based upon, maybe somebody leaves a company and goes someplace else. That listing contract is still in place. Just like these contracts are in place here. You need to understand Zillow just can't come in, take all the data that they get out of ShowingTime and say, now we're going to start using all this data that ShowingTime has. It's impossible, I don't want to say impossible. They would have a very, very difficult time if they did that because, utilizing private or getting involved with privacy issues and violating privacy issues, as everybody's aware of today, is a major, major thing with the government. The second thing that I always tell people about this, I think agents, when I hear them say, I'm going to keep all this information for myself and I'm not going to give it to anybody, and I got news for you. Zillow already has this information. Whether you believe it or not, they have this information already. And you say, well, how can that be? Well, let's go through the process. If you are a buyer, you're a seller. First thing you do usually before you contact an agent is you start putting your toe in the water. And the very first place that you usually go is Zillow.com. And when you go to Zillow.com, what are you doing there? The first thing you do is you register for an account. You put in your contact information. You put the email because you want to get all these things that are coming back to you. So you've given that information, the consumer has given that information to Zillow already. Guess what? Zillow tracks everything the consumer does on their site. So Zillow knows exactly what properties you're looking at as a consumer. They know what you're clicking, how much time you're spending there, what pictures you're looking at. If you don't think that Zillow doesn't have this information, you're in dream world. The next thing having to do with this is we as agents, we love to get reviews, and I don't blame us. You know, we're all trying to promote ourselves and brand ourselves. And we ask our clients to go to Zillow and we say, get on Zillow and give me a good review. Well, I got to tell you, as soon as you go to Zillow and try to leave a review, there's a box that pops up and says, hey, you need to register here. Give us your name and your email address. Guess what? They have your data. They just do. Number 3, consumers don't do business with data. The latest study that came out from NAR, the 2020 profile of home buyers and sellers, 53% of buyers are either referred by somebody that they know or they used the agent previously to buy a house. That's over half of the people. They're going right past that data component. They want a relationship. And 67% of sellers, so it's much higher, it's 2/3, are referred by someone they know or used the agent previously. So what this ought to be saying to you, if you're mainly concerned about the data, start forging better relationships with your past buyers and sellers or with your sphere of influence. Start forging those relationships and making them strong, because people are going to do business with who they like. Number 4, the reason why consumers use us is because what's in our head, not because of all the data that we have. They use us because we know neighborhoods. They use us because of negotiation tactics. There's all kinds of things that Zillow can't produce in a data model that you have right up here. That's what's important to the clients that you have. You ought to be honing your skills so that all the data stuff that people are collecting, well, that's fine. People are coming to you saying, how should I go about doing this? What's the best offer I can make here? What can strengthen my offer? These are the things that these Zillows of the world, they can't produce. You produce as an agent. Get really good at what you do. Number 5, the transaction is facing lots of regulatory hurdles and is not a done deal. The federal government and antitrust attorneys, when they saw this break, they were licking their chops and they're saying, goody, goody, because for the next however many months or years this takes, they're going to be occupied with looking through this agreement with a fine-tooth comb. So just because Zillow and ShowingTime announced this to the world doesn't mean that Zillow's in control of anything having to do with ShowingTime at this point in time. This is going to be a while before this ultimately gets to the finish line. If it gets to the finish line, there could be lots of hurdles that are placed in the way. So if you're thinking right now, oh, this announcement was made last week and I just was booking showings this afternoon, I wonder if Zillow has my information. They haven't touched anything yet. And oh, by the way, just to let you know, if you're so paranoid, so to speak, about Zillow getting your information off of ShowingTime, you can go into Bright and you can turn off ShowingTime. You can do it today to every listing that you have. Now, I wouldn't suggest that you do that, but you can do it. It's an option. Number 6, this potential, notice I said potential acquisition will spur on tons of innovation. I think everybody is aware, because I mentioned it at a previous meeting, CoStar bought HomeSnap a couple of months ago. And, there's been all kinds of rumors thinking that CoStar and HomeSnap are going to compete with Zillow and other listing portals. I think they're going to eventually do it. CoStar was announced right after this acquisition. CoStar had announced they were already working on something that was similar to ShowingTime for the HomeSnap app. They are now accelerating that. Guess what? All these companies that have these calendar type services, they're now looking at real estate thinking, hey, we have an opportunity here to get our foot in the door I believe you're going to see lots of competitors here enter this realm, okay? And my final thing is alternatives are probably going to be available on Bright MLS in fairly short order. I mean, the Bright board, whether you like the Bright board or not, there's some really smart people on that board. And they now realize that if this goes through, Zillow is going to have a service that is being marketed to all of the subscribers in Bright. I know that's not going to sit well with a lot of subscribers. I think what Bright is probably going to do is come up with an alternative. Now, where that alternative comes up or comes from, I don't know. But it would be literally suicide for Bright to say, we're just sticking with ShowingTime. I don't care if Zillow owns this or not. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be alternatives out there for all of us to look at in the very near future. That's my opinion. So once again, I wouldn't get all wound up about this potential acquisition. There's lots of things that need to happen yet. And once again, you as a real estate agent, it's not all about the data. It's about what's up here. And that's what you bring to the table and have value. I'm going to end up with this. Opportunities are usually disguised as hard work. So most people don't recognize them. This comes from Ann Landers. So the purpose of this quote is, take a look at yourself and what are you offering to your clients? It's now time to keep improving, because if all these companies are out there stealing data, doing this, doing that, your value lies in what's up here, because that can't be taken from you. That is yours, and that's the value you bring to the table for your buyers and sellers. So have a great day, everybody. Once again, I'm going to get out some of these links to the Ninja Selling. Keep an eye out for Colleen's email about the book club having to do with Ninja Selling, and we will see you next week. Take care, everyone.